German stolen for you. It's Holidays LALATE, a live edition with some German holiday stolen to get you through the holiday spirit, along with some Dutch butter cookies. More about how to get through this holiday season with delicious things around the stores that are actually quite reasonable and are cents on the dollar, things that you can make as well. Meantime, not so delicious. A new stimulus bill introduced by a lot of congressional leaders that like to have a lot of publicity for themselves. Second stimulus check, second stimulus package updates across the board. Big developments on that $2,400 if you're on SSI, SSDI, and Social Security Railroad benefits. Then additionally, updates as well about stimulus in the CR. Meantime, viewers of this channel continue to get big grants, big money, not $5,000, not $10,000. And guess what? We're not calling a press conference to talk about that as well. We're actually having some stolen as we steal some really good laughs along the way. I'm so glad you joined me on this special live taping of Holidays LALATE. We'll be going over these details and more and answering some of your incredible questions if you're tuning in live when we're going live at the moment at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard, 12 noon Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, live and direct here from Los Angeles. There's currently about 200 people in the room. And there's Tina, Gloria, Robert. Hello. And Elliot had to find his cookies. Yes. It's all about making sure it's delicious. And sometimes when we have news, the stimulus thing is not so delicious. Elliot is in the room, and there's Gloria as well. There's James and Steve from Taylor, Michigan, and Lone Star, and Diane, and Penny, and there's Catherine. Aaron, thank you for joining me from Tucson. Catherine calling me Sassy Daddy. Again, I love that. Kelly from New Orleans, and Barbara. Epstein from Purple Power. There we go. And Aura, Miss Soy Choi. And then, now it's moving really fast. Kenya, Samantha Elliott from New Jersey. Matlock. I love you on that show, Matlock. Nathaniel from Albuquerque. Beautiful town. I've been there. Linda. And there's Ramona and Kimberly and Elizabeth from Texas. And there's Liz and Aura. If I miss your name, certainly type it again. I'll grab it on the next round. Lori. And there's Edward. And there's Sylvia. Amanda from Oklahoma, Christy from Colorado. Thank you for joining me, Christy. And there's Katie from Pennsylvania. Hello from Pennsylvania, Katie. How is everyone? And Aura is in the room as well. Kimberly from Indiana. And who else is here? Sun State. Well, there we go. And then someone else from Tucson. We got Aldrin and Eric from Georgia, and Catherine and Sean from Texas. A lot of Texas. Shirley from South Carolina. Chat from Ohio. And there is Maria and Joseph and Amanda and Prophet from New Jersey. I think I missed someone on that run. William, and then Patricia. William's over it. I just started. Don't be over anything yet, William. Kim, and there's Roger. Boot Heel, Missouri. Wow, I don't know where that is. Shannon from Kentucky, and Quincy is here. Anita from Wisconsin, and Ion from Ion. No, I just being facetious there. And there's Mike. Hey, there's Mike Smith in the room. Well, it's an incredible day, and boy, people still flowing in. This is Holidays LALATE, which is your midday lighthearted update. It was inspired based upon early mornings LALATE. It's supposed to be lighthearted, very simple. We've given you about 10 minutes of update about stimulus. The big update, of course, will be on check at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. But this is your lighthearted midday update about what's going on, breaking by the minute about stimulus, and there's a lot of stuff's breaking. But I'll be also going over that $2,400. I'll be going over SSI, and I'll be going over the grant money, the viewers that continue to get stuff. LALATE, did you get coffee? I did get coffee. Some haters often jump in the room. He's had too much coffee. No, I've not had too much coffee, thank you. So thank you for joining in. We need direct stimulus. So today, a series of congressional leaders who love a lot of publicity, not being facetious, actually being truthful here, love a lot of publicity, grandstanded with a press conference. Now, how many people were in this group? This group is about as let's just say there's more production lights in the set than there were senators supporting this bill. There was literally there's less Backstreet Boy members than the people that are supporting this bill. A press conference was called by no less than I think four people who wanted a lot of publicity for those four people. And they introduced the bill by first suggesting to CNBC they're going to call a press conference. Then they called a press conference. And then they said, we're a bipartisan group. It's four people. It's not a group. I mean, it's not even a half-court team. What is this group? I was so excited to see who is this bipartisan group. Maybe we should help them. We're the Purple Power family. Maybe we can help this bipartisan group. It's four people. I mean, there's more hairdressers that do Nancy Pelosi's hair than this group. I mean, what the hell's four people? Four people. There's more lobsters to support Mitch McConnell than the people that were behind this bill. Needless to say, the bill is sort of a joke. And ultimately, what I want you to understand is, here's the bill. Do you see the garbage can? You could sort of toss it in the garbage can. The bill will probably get publicity for about today till about 5 o'clock, and that will be the end of the cycle for the bill. So between you and I want to explain how this works. These congressional leaders need publicity. They want publicity. They want book deals. Believe me, they make a lot of money on book deals. They make about $1 million to $2 million per book deal. So they're trying to get publicity for themselves. And, it's the holidays. And so they're grandstanding. They have a press conference and they all stand there and they have the same shirt that they bought from that same department store. And they want to talk about stimulus. They don't even know what stimulus is. And this was what the bill had in it. $908 billion includes $208 billion for small business aid, such as the Paycheck Protection Program, $160 billion for state and local, $180 billion for $300 a week for unemployment benefits through March, and then $16 billion for vaccine distribution, $82 billion for schools, and $45 billion for transportation. And would also include something for the airlines, $17 billion for the airlines. And there you go. It's a crap bill. I mean, it's just a junk bill. Let me tell you why it's junk. First of all, $288 billion for PPP. Well, there's $800 billion of PPP sitting at SBA that no one wanted. So why are we getting another $288 billion? I mean, if you want to do some PPP, $50 billion makes sense. But $300 billion when there's $800 billion sitting around, I mean, it's a joke. $160 billion for state and local. That's ridiculous because this is an emergency bill. There needs to be zero in there for state and local because it's an emergency bill. You can do this in January. You don't need this now. Next, weekly supplemental unemployment benefits, $300 a week through March. Again, this is an emergency bill, and $300 a week. Okay, but is it retroactive? No. And why is it to March? Again, it's an emergency bill. You need a bill that's retroactive to July and bring it up to January and bring it up to about January. Then you do the bill in January. Next, $16 billion for vaccine distribution. They already have distributed the vaccines. The planes have already arrived in the cities and they're distributing the vaccines right now in the next week. The planes are already in position. So why are we spending money on things that have already happened? And the distribution of the vaccines is done by the FDA. So we don't need to give the FDA any more money. Next, $82 billion for education. The schools are closed. Why are we spending money on schools? And that's not an emergency bill. It's Christmas holidays. Who's open for school during the Christmas holidays? And finally, the big hilarious one, which is a $17 billion for airlines. They got money before. This is an emergency bill. They don't need any more money. They can get a lot more in January. So junk, yeah, it's just junk. And what I want you to understand is that the bill will never see light of day. Now, here's my personal opinion, and there's a little bit of venting, is that I'm sort of tired of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney introduced a hazard pay bill in May. He got a lot of publicity for it. And that hazard pay bill, he never talked about it one day thereafter. Then in about August or September, he introduced an extension of FPUC with Marco Rubio. Again, got a lot of publicity for it for one day and then never talked about it again. I think since July to now, Mitt Romney has introduced no less than 4 bills where he sort of grandstands, appears on the front of CNBC for like 25 minutes. And then at that point, you never hear from him again, and he doesn't even talk about his bill. It's a lot of silliness, and it really has to stop. I know that they want a book deal, but I mean, come on. This is not the time for that. What's incredible good news is that Atrium Health indicated that Charlotte-based network is locked and loaded and has ready to receive 300,000 vials of the virus vaccine within the next few days. The vaccines have literally taken off and will be distributed to frontline workers in the next week to 2 weeks. So that's that. Let's now get to the reality check, which is Martha. Reality, no stimulus. Yeah, the reality is that this bill is junk. So the real thing is CR for stimulus. That's what happened over the weekend. This bill is we're never going to talk about it after probably this afternoon, no joke. So what we will be talking about is the continuing resolution. The continuing resolution is where we remain focused. The continuing resolution is a bill that has to be done. It will be voted upon. It has to be voted on the Senate, has to be voted on in the House. It's called the continuing resolution. It's done every 3 months. And what it means is basically it's a funding bill to fund the federal government. They have to do it every 3 months. And go CR, just as Aura just typed, hashtag CR, the number 4, then stimulus. The report this weekend, and I really believe that this is going to happen if everyone gets their act together, is that the stimulus slides into the CR and you get these people to actually do something because they got to do it. The CR is required to be done. You can't not do a CR, and that if you don't approve the CR, the federal government shuts down, which is so delicious. I mean, it's more delicious than the stolen, which I'm about to get to in a second. This German stolen, but it's so delicious because ultimately they won't get their checks. Nancy won't get her check if she doesn't agree to give you your check. And what's incredible here is that Kelly says she can't hear me. Can everyone else hear me? I assume they can. The president just spoke. CR, 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 says Patricia. The incredible great news is that this is really where the push of the purple power should be. Daniela is just joining me. If you're just joining me at the 11-minute mark, Elliot says he can hear me. Good. If you're just joining me at the 11-minute mark, what I've been covering so far is a atrocious, ridiculous joke of a bill. That was this thing introduced today by no less than 4 people. There are there were more revivals to Beverly Hills 90210 than supporters of this bill. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing, and it's just a thing to get themselves a book deal. And so ultimately, I had to inform you that it was introduced. It's never going to see light of day. So we're going back to CR for stimulus. Delicious, as someone just said. Delicious. Yes, this bill was not delicious. And so now CR for stimulus, the important thing is that the continuing resolution is not expected to have everything. It is emergency. It has to be done by December 11th. Today is December 1st. And generally, CRs are done very quickly. They don't wait till the last day. So what's important to understand is you want to get the narrative out to Mitch McConnell and his communications director. Take this video, share it with Mitch McConnell on Twitter and his communications director. Greg is in the room. And then and then Aura as well. And get it very clear that we will shut you down. Someone just said, we'll shut you down, give you a stimulus. No, that they shut it down if they don't give a stimulus. It's very simple. The CR should have the following things: a repurposing of CARES Act 1 money, which is about $800 billion, then some unemployment benefits, and some eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, and student loan repayment protection. Some people have asked, how about the problem solvers bill? You know, the problem solvers have also been sort of a publicity minded group. It was a very good bill. It had some problems in it, but it's a good bill. The problem with the problem solvers bill is it's now antiquated because all its deal provisions were saying, okay, this until December. Well, we're in December. So you can't have the problem solvers bill as written. It has to be rewritten. But Mitch McConnell supports the problem solvers bill, Lindsey Graham, Chuck Grassley, all these GOP senators. So ultimately, if you got the problem solvers bill, you would get one stimulus check now, one in March, $450 a week, $600 a week. You would get extension of PUA, UI. The problem is that the problem solvers bill is 1.5, and you can't really slide 1.5 into a CR. It's just too big. Now you could certainly take parts of the problem solvers bill and slide into the CR. That's certainly a really good idea. I don't know if it's too complicated for these congressional leaders to understand. So I just watched that the Problem Solvers Caucus members are ambitious, are at amusement. I think the person announced, I couldn't see the rest of the statement. What did the problem solvers just say? I don't know. The problem solvers, the issue I have with the problem solvers, to be very frank about it, I don't play games here, is that the problem solvers talk and then they sort of disappear. Talk and then disappear. So they appear on CNBC and they have a nice shirt, a nice tie, and then they talk and then you never hear from them. It's like, okay, you can't just sort of write things that just run for the hill. Someone says you have to stay on top of things. Ron says you just have to stay on top of it. When we talk about escalated benefits, when we talk, what someone just said, I'm going to get that in a second. When we talk about getting CARES Act 1 money, which I'm going to talk about in a second, you have to follow up on things. And the problem solvers don't follow up on anything. They just say something and then they run for it. It's like talk and run. It's like, here I am. Okay, I'm going to run for it. So there you go. All right, with that, let me turn to turn to some CARES Act 1 grants and some escalated benefits and some EIDL. What I want you to understand from where we are now, the focus still remains the CR for stimulus. Share this video, tag it on Twitter, and get it very loud and clear that we need to get that stimulus into the CR. Someone just asked, are we going to get a second stimulus package? Absolutely. But what I'm trying to do is get you an emergency stimulus into the CR, not the whole universe of stimulus, just emergency stimulus. Get it done right now because you need these things right now. UI is expiring in December. PUA is expiring in December. FPUC is already expired. Eviction moratorium is expiring. Mortgage for all these things are expiring at the same time. Shut them down, says Elise. What does Janet Yellen say? Janet Yellen is talking about Janet Yellen and President-elect Joe Biden both spoke today about these enormous plans, and they also said that we need to do something right now, but they didn't explain what it is. Now, Joe Biden's plan is just ginormous. I mean, just ginormous. And it's something that I can just see it taking months to negotiate. What you really need here is an emergency action. Go CR, absolutely. What Joe Biden did when he came in with Obama, they had to deal with the banking industry collapsing, and they had to do something urgent and fast. There's no sense of urgency with the Democrats at the moment. It's sort of like, nor the Republicans. It's sort of like, we're going to working on something, and it's going to be really big, and it's going to be really big, and it's going to be, let's just get something in really quickly. Now, Joe Biden did say today, and Yellen did say today, get something right now, and we'll do some more later on. That's really good. That's anti-Nancy Pelosi. Overnight, Mitch McConnell said that the problem we're having right now is that Nancy Pelosi wants an everything or nothing situation, which is exactly correct. I mean, he's 100% correct. Could be said any clearer. Nancy Pelosi only wants everything or nothing, which Joe Biden today said we can't do that. So, Joe, why don't you just step in and tell Nancy just, move back there. Questions on EIDL. Should I qualify? Oh, I just missed it. Let me go over some questions now. Tell us about our lack of stimulus checks. Yes, I mean, it's absolutely true. Can they use the Harris-Sanders plan? Absolutely, they can use it. But what we're talking about right now, between now and December, is something really tight. There's no stimulus checks in this bill. Absolutely, Sharon. That's what I talked about. It's a junk bill. And what I want you to understand is that it's a junk bill. You're never going to hear it after today. So we're not going to be talking about this junk bill probably until the end of today, and that's it, because it's never going to see anything. So there you go. Well, the bipartisan bill is it. It's no stimulus check. It's a joke, says someone just a second ago. Yeah, so we're not going to focus on something that's a joke. We're going to move on to something that we're going to do. Do you have to have good credit to receive an EIDL, says Touchstone? No, a 570 Experian Vantage 3.0. You find your Experian Vantage score from Experian. And if you need to get a boost, go to Experian.com/boost. It can raise it 25 points. Also, you can call up Experian to remove adverse entries. We need a stimulus check right now. Any help in California, ASAP. Do you still think McConnell is going to put in the CR? That's what the reports say. Mitch says the CR stimulus is in the works. Oh, says Len. Good. That's good. Well, SSI, SSDI go in effect in January 2021. Uh, it would not go in effect in the CR, but it would go in effect thereafter. It's a Joe Biden plan. I got denied from EIDL because of bad credit score. That's an easy one to win. Don't worry, that's an easy one to win. You just get that Experian Vantage 3.0 over 570, do a reconsideration, and then you're done. My credit was 609. So 609, you gotta call up Experian and get those adverse entries removed. I just received my EIDL today, Chantel. Well, congratulations to Chantel. What about the Harris Sanders plan? Yes, the Harris Sanders plan is excellent. Unemployment, we need extension of unemployment. It's expiring in December. Shut them down and give them ramen, ramen noodles. I love that. Colorado Springs. So let's turn to some grant stuff. First, I'll do grants, then I'll do escalated benefits, and then I'll do EIDL. Someone said how my EIDL is still in processing. EIDL in processing takes about, I would say about sometimes 2 days. If it's more than 2 days, call up EIDL, call up SBA and ask for tier 2. All right, now let's go to CARES Act 1 grants. CARES Act 1 grants, big success across the board. Continue to push by calling your city, your county, and your state housing authority and your utilities company. What's important to understand is that there's stuff literally everywhere for certain things. So you're going to start with the rent. If you're having problems getting the rent, oh, thank you for the super chat. If you're having problems with the rent, then go to utilities. Almost every utility company is giving utility grants. So get that utility grants. It's not $20,000, but it's certainly more than $100. And go to those utility companies and get those grants. Next, think out of the box. There's religious groups and there's also political action groups that are also giving rent grants as well. I don't want to say them on camera, but the volunteers know about them. I have said them sometimes on camera. For example, in Houston, there is no Houston City rent grant, but there is one group that has paid Houston rent a lot to the viewers of this channel. So go get them. There's no less than 9 volunteers right now that are doing incredible work. I'm getting viewers now. I'm getting about at least 10 success stories a day that I'm hearing from. And the success stories are either rent and stimulus. Oh, thank you, Tristan. Are either rent and utilities, or several things together. What I want you to do is always consider utilities. I'm stuck in my area if funds come available for rent and utilities. Chuck said last night there's a new offer from McConnell. Interesting. I thought Nancy wasn't allowed in the room anymore. Well, she's going to make it sound like she's in the room. I got my EIDL loan for $50,000 last month. Woo woo. Well, congratulations. Schumer's live right now. Okay. You got to be watching me, not Schumer. Anyone in Michigan getting grants? Yes. Any help in South Carolina? Yes, there is rent in South Carolina. We have the Salvation Army here in Indiana. They've been doing an incredible job. Any help in Big Lake, Texas? Yes. Texas has done good stuff as well. Hey, Linda. Purple Power saying hello to Linda. Your background is lovely. Oh, thank you. That is one of the reefs from a prior holidays LLA. Pray we get these stimulus checks. Absolutely. You need to be very loud and clear with Mitch McConnell about the stimulus. Rent help in South Carolina? Yes. Rhode Island? Yes. Tennessee? Yes. A lot of people got stuff in Tennessee. Sometimes, certainly for utilities. Vermont, utilities, of course. California, yes, utilities in California. Houston, Texas, yes, I've gotten a lot of rent in Houston, Texas, but with a religious community, the volunteers know about it. So yes. Oklahoma is one of those states not giving anything. No, every state is giving something. So when you say Oklahoma is not giving anything, no, every state is giving something. So the state may not be giving rent, but the utility companies are giving utilities. That's how this is going through. Alabama Action Committee has paid rent, and a religious group has paid rent, and also State Housing Authority in Alabama. There we go. Ohio. I have one volunteer that's purely only for Ohio. They say they're out of funds for non-COVID. Who's that referring to? Oh, thank you for the super chat. Very cute with Tweety Pie. Hello from Nova Scotia. My goodness. Hello from Nova Scotia. What do you say for the, oh, it just moved really fast. What about mortgage assistance? Mortgage assistance is a little bit harder. It's definitely a little bit harder. That is one of the harder things to do. I talked to unemployment today. They told me I couldn't see what that said. Let's turn to, I got my, my EIDL for 2000, can I email EID my escalated benefits? Yes, let's turn to escalated benefits. So when you're doing your escalated benefits, you want to get it electronically because that's the fastest way. So either by email or uploading it into the website. Get that 2019 tax return, write the cover letter, upload it, and then call them and follow it up. The chat is moving really fast. It is moving fast. I get this 1.2 over 1,000 people in the room right now. So you want to get that electronically sent as fast as possible, and then call them on the phone. I didn't see the last comment about unemployment. It moved too quickly on the screen. Every state does it. Some states do it very fast within 24 hours. Other states take a little bit slower. Who do I contact in St. Louis County for rental assistance? St. Louis County. St. Louis County is doing rental assistance in the city. St. Louis City is doing rental assistance. We heard that last night on Purple Power Live from a few viewers. I know personally that St. Louis City is doing small mini houses in downtown if you have no home, but they are doing housing in the city. Absolutely. The extending PUA, that's the hope. There's no stimulus in the new bill. So if you're just joining me right now, we were talking initially about the junk bill, which I'm not going to be talking about much after this afternoon. I'll talk about it this afternoon on chat. But after that, we're not going to be talking about it because it's a junk bill. It's never going to see light of day. And it's for the same group of people like Mitt Romney who keep on introducing bills every 3 months and then never talk about them after that day. They just want publicity. I'm not being facetious. That's actually what they want. Good afternoon from Ohio, got rent assistance through United Way. Shanti Moreau. Congratulations to Shanti Moreau for rent. How much money did you get, if you want to say, Shanti? Congratulations. Chilling at home, praying all humanity. We are. Hello in Oregon. Unemployment for street bums. Vaccines for government. Yeah, I mean, they just want publicity. They really do. Mitt Romney, the hazard pay bill. Mitt Romney, the other $300 a week. Mitt Romney, something else. I mean, Mitt Romney keeps on doing bills and then they never say anything. They just disappear after a week. I mean, what's the purpose of that? I've already been evicted, so you can still get assistance, and you can also get first and last month's rent. Absolutely. Alabama has rental support for, I didn't see what it said. Tennessee, reach out to Rise Foundation. Bridget. So if I have any volunteers in the room, take note of that. Rise Foundation in Tennessee. That's a good one. I never heard that one till now. Rise Assistance for Tennessee. Atlanta, rental support for residents only. Okay. New York is broke. No, New York has utilities, and New York also is allegedly going live with a new program today. One viewer said it's going live today. Las Vegas, Clark County has rent. Someone said that last night. Clark County has rent as a new program in Las Vegas. It apparently just started. Anything in Arizona? Yes, absolutely. I've had a lot of viewers with success stories from Arizona. I got evicted 60 days ago. So they do have other things for you as well. Sorry that's happened to you. What does Massachusetts offer? Massachusetts offers confusion because one viewer, 3 viewers are saying there was nothing in Massachusetts, and one viewer said, LALATE, you told me to ignore them, and I ignored them, and he got $14,000. Tyrone and his family of 4 got 6 months or 12 months of rent in Massachusetts. So he ignored them. Tennessee, Terry, if you did not hear what I just said in Tennessee or see what that other person said, can the person in Tennessee repeat the charity in Tennessee that's helping out? Will they try to do a stimulus check of any sort, LALATE? We have to push them. We have to ensure that they put them into the CR. That's really, we have to push, share this video on Twitter. Anything in Missouri, yes. Utilities across the state of Missouri and rent in St. Louis, either city or county. I can't remember what it is. I need rent assistance in California. California has utilities. Arizona says they're out of funds as a few days, even not COVID assistance. So Arizona, when you let me go to that comment because it's a great comment. So someone said Arizona's out of stuff. Now, first of all, they're not out of stuff because I've had viewers get. Someone just posted the Tennessee Foundation. There it is, Tennessee Rise Foundation. Tennessee Rise RISE Foundation to the Tennessee viewer who was asking what the thing was in Tennessee. In Arizona, someone said Arizona's out of everything. I want you to understand, I sort of did this on day one, but I wanted to go it again. No state is out of anything. When we say they're out of something, that might be from the state or the city or the county, but the utility companies are not often run by the state. They're private organizations, and those utility companies often have grants, always have grants. So the fact that the state is not doing anything may be trumped by the fact that the utility companies are. Then you also have volunteers, private organizations like Rise Foundation in Tennessee that's doing things for people as well. So ultimately, you never want to say, I called Arizona and the state said they don't have anything. I'm stopped. No. Who has utilities in Missouri? Everyone has utilities in Missouri. There's Missouri utility grants across the state. In fact, one person one night said that there was so many utilities in Missouri. Please tell people that it's literally all over the state. As I knock some stuff on the set. All right, let's get to some holiday stuff. So here we go. Stolen. I've stolen your stimulus. Mitch stolen your stimulus. Okay, so this is German stolen. This is actually from Germany, which is, how would I describe it? It's further than when Nancy Pelosi goes to get her hairstyle. This is German stolen. And I know you all love food on this channel, so on holidays, LALATE. And what's incredible to know is that your markets suddenly have imported items just everywhere that they would never have during the holiday season. And if you want to have something sort of different, like stolen stimulus, you could go and get some stolen just sitting there right on the shelf. You may go and get a bagel. It's like, let's get some bagels. Oh, there's stolen there. Why is there stolen from Germany there? And what's incredible is that this is literally imported. And it wasn't particularly expensive at all. I mean, it's just, it's no different than a pie. I think the cakes in the cake section were more expensive than this thing. And it's imported from Backwarren, which I'm not really quite sure where that is, somewhere in Germany. Now, what's important to understand is that when you're going to get a product like this, you understand what its perish life is. This has no perish life, so that's good. The other thing is you want to understand what the ingredient mix is, and a lot of the ingredients mixes sometimes are not translated into English, so you have to be good with your German. Or good with languages. This is German stolen, and in the back is the ingredient list. And the ingredient list is basically kept in German. It features a beautiful little, decor of a kid on a sleigh, really quite charming. And you look on the back and it says, Rosen, Pomfett and Kandenfunutun, Zucker and Dextros and Rapos Glucksos. That's my Russian German. You needless to say, I clearly don't speak German. But I can figure out by reading it that it's 27% raisins, I guess. Then I guess the next word was flour. I know I'm going to get someone that says, I was going to say, that's wrong German, Ella. You just don't know your German. Zucker clearly is sugar, and dextrose is universal word. Now, there's other things that just sort of pop up and never seem to disappear. This is sort of an example of something that's quite funny. Here is Danish butter cookies, which you may see year-round in your stores. And the Danish butter cookies are just delicious. I mean, everyone makes them. And what's incredibly interesting about this is that it says Zurkuk, and it says imported. I love it. It's imported. Guess where it's imported? Because it shows a little beautiful castle. This is Dutch butter cookies. Where do you think the Dutch butter cookies are imported? Drop in the comments right now where you think these beautiful Dutch butter cookies are imported from. You have the picture of a castle, And then we have a picture, and then it says imported. Where do you think the Dutch butter cookies would have been imported from? Holland, China, Brazil. Linda says Brazil. Uh, Randy says China. Uh, Elliot says Dutch. Another Katie says Holland. Wayne says God, we love you. Philippines. Marine says Philippines, and Freddie Mars says Germany, and someone says Bavaria, and someone says California. It's imported from India. It's imported from India. It's a product of India, and it's manufactured in Glendale, California. So there you go. If you need some really good Dutch butter cookies, you can just get them imported from India. Some of the imported is referring to this castle, but I guess they have castles like that in India. So does it taste? Does it taste less Dutch? I don't know. But that's the difference of when you're trying to bring something for the holiday season. So ultimately, if you're going to visit someone for the holiday season, you're bringing them German Stollen and Dutch butter cookies, don't make a fool of yourself when the person turns the back and says, oh, thank you for the gift from India. I really appreciate it. The Dutch butter cookies from India are just delicious. Whereas this is actually from Germany. With that, thank you for joining me. Let's go over a couple last questions before we call it an afternoon. Dallas, Texas, rental assistance, yes. The charities, the religious charities in Dallas, Texas. What is Super Chat? Super Chat is a little dollar symbol in the corner that you press, and that you wire me a Bentley, and you wire me cookies from India. That's what you do. Hawaiian guave bread is a must try. Wow. Hawaiian guave bread. Do they ship that? I've never had that. That sounds delicious. Help from Ohio. I have a volunteer who does Ohio specifically. North Carolina, yes. I've had those Dutch butter cookies, and they're delicious. If you're getting unemployment retroactively, will you be called back to work? That's a great question. So remember, when you're doing your unemployment is for the period in which you're unemployed. So if you were unemployed March to September, but have a job now, you still are entitled to your unemployment from March to September. Has nothing to do with what you're doing right now. But you cannot decline your work to go back to work. You cannot miss that as well. Do not decline your job offer to go back to work. And there you go. So join me on Afternoons LLA, started at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time with Check, followed by Purple, which have big updates about your stimulus, and then becoming a Mitch. As always, thank you for joining me for the special edition of LALATE Live Holidays LALATE every day at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA for more.